Good evening. This is your host, MENDAYZZ, on the NETERAL radio show, where bronze women worldwide come together in harmony, respect, and unity to encourage holistic and sufficient discussions as a way of empowerment and upliftment for all bronze women of all shades worldwide on the NETERAL radio show. Today's date is July 31st, 2018, on a Tuesday evening, and the time right now is 10 p.m. and tonight's hot topic is going to be about the significance of bronze women, womb, and the seed that she carries. Please be advised that this is a 60-minute talk show. So, last week's topic, we're just going to basically give a brief overview of what was discussed on last week's show. And the topic was, what are some of the underlying defeats of our bronze relationships? Okay, so some of the things that we talked about was, what are some of the culprits of being ego-driven in relationships, especially bronze relationships, and how self-entitlement can have a non-productive counter effect on relationships, bronze relationships at that. I got to make emphasis on that. And how the lack of investment has an effect on relationships. And last but not least, what are some of the underlying failures regarding communication in bronze relationship, which consist of lack of communication and misunderstandings. Okay, so also including silent treatment. One of the things that I made emphasis about when it comes down to lack of communication, the underlying, defeat are miscommunication and misunderstanding. Because sometimes as bronze women, we may miscommunicate certain things based off how we attain information or perceive certain things. And sometimes we could be wrong, or even when we assume things not to be facts or truth, and, it turns out to be wrong or otherwise, that is a form of miscommunication along with misunderstanding, because based upon your perception and how you internalize what was presented to you or exposed to you, can cause misunderstanding if you don't ask for clarity or ask for those facts before implying anything beyond just, what you perceived as so. Okay, so that's some of the things that we talked about on last week's show. And once again, this week's show is about the significance of bronze women womb and the seed that she carries. Okay, so the first topic that I want to talk about is what is the significance behind bronze women cleaning up their mind, body, and soul. Now, the only reason why I wanted to talk about that specifically is because I, as a bronze woman, I'm so tired of, hearing the negative aspects of bronze women and the things that they do and how they cater to these negative commutations based off of the things that they continue to do to make it facts. Okay, and I just feel that we've been wrong for so long that we need to come to a level of correction and correcting ourselves and, getting ourselves back in alignment, mind, body, and soul. So this is why I'm talking about this specifically, okay, and why this is very important. From cleaning up our act and just basically renewing our minds at first. One of the things that I wanted to bring clarity to is the fact of, us having this preference to do things in just standard of beauty. As I always mention, we need to change our outlook on that and find things that are more valuable, like character building, like changing our outlook on relationships, bronze relationships at that, and just doing the right thing and not getting caught up and entangled into the agenda or the plan of the beast. So basically, restoring our minds and our bodies, where we're not, compromising ourselves and laying down with any and everybody and disgracing ourselves, let alone, loved ones, like, some people might say our ancestors, having them turn in their grave because of the activities that we're doing and the stress that we're putting on our body per se. We need to change our outlook on that, the things that we find of value as bronze women. Okay, so one of the aspects of that is changing your mind and cleaning up your mind based on how you see things, how your level of scheming and things, like basically taking your positive or natural attributes and using it for something negative. Like, we need to change our outlook on that. Like last week's show, I talked about the effect of listening, and I said that's the power that we have. Now, you got some so-called black women would feel that what they have between their legs is more powerful than anything to manipulate a man or whatever the case might be, and that's not really what it is. So basically, you taking something positive, but you're making it out to being something negative and ignoring the actual thing that is of value, which is listening as a bronze woman, which is most effective. And you basically engage in being in a relationship with your bronze man. Okay, a bronze man, not a male, but bronze man. Okay, that is developed. Okay, so I think we owe it to ourselves to change our mind, clean up our act, clean up our way of our image and things like that. Take ownership of it, and not disgrace ourselves. Okay, and for those women that don't want to or feel a need to change themselves because of where they at, let them be where they at. Okay, if those sisters want to compromise themselves or whatever the case might be, let them go through the disgrace or degenerating their bloodline. But if you, as a bronze woman, you really want to seek to change your life, your aspect, your way of life, of your way of thinking, and just the things that you do, from mind, body to soul, you want to change that aspect, and you're really serious about this, then consider this show on tonight and listening to this show and some of the things that you can do to change your whole world and your aspect of life. It doesn't matter what circumstance or situation that you are in as a result of your past and the things that you've done, but going forward with a serious and a clean slate, basically building yourself up more. Because the way I see it is we can only be as strong as the weakest link. And for those women that want to continue to mix her seed and feel like there's nothing wrong or going against the grain or whatever the case might be, let her be. Because like, as we get stronger and we restore ourselves, it's no going back to her, because she chose to self-destruct. Okay, but we can bring a new birth and a renewed outlook on just life in general, and how we being perceived by us coming together with a clean mind and renewed mind, being the first thing. Okay, so that's just my thoughts on that, in particular. But one of the things that you want to do in taking a step is to allow yourself to relax mentally. Okay, which is a form of mentalization and not meditation, because there's a difference. And I'm not trying to sound heavy and deep, but from being, a part of a community, where we are building ourselves up and we're renewing our mind, a solid community that's separate from NETERAL, I realized that mentalization and meditation is two different things. Okay, just like black and white, two different things, it's the same thing. Okay, and I just want, you bronze women that are out there to embrace the word mentalization and what I'm about to say about that. Okay, so mentalization is more of you being in your thoughts. Now, you can relate to that practically, because there's times where I'm pretty sure it's moments where you was in your thoughts and you was able to reflect and, go through certain points of realization on how you're going to communicate, how you're going to do certain things, whatever. I'm pretty sure we've been through that. Okay, so that is a form of mentalization. When sometimes we also identify it as our me time, but when you are alone, you are by yourself, when you are in your thoughts and you're able to just see things and you have moment of clarity on certain things. That doesn't take you having to chant, you having to do certain activities to come to a state of peace of mind. That's what meditation is all about. People that meditate and they do all of that yoga and things like that, they trying to flex their muscles, when it comes down to yoga. And then for meditation, they basically trying to get to a state of peace of mind. Okay, and that's not what we don't have to go through all of that. Okay, to get our mind right. It's just the changing of our mind, the changing of our act, and just doing the right thing. Okay, that's all it takes. I know some people might say, oh, it's easy said than done. No, but when you actually make that choice and don't feel like you don't have a choice, when you make that choice to stand up and not just fall for anything, that's when you can take that step towards, building yourself up and getting your mind right. Okay, and then the next thing would be choosing the right foods, that you eat, to keep yourself to have certain types of nutrition and things of that nature, things that you basically eat, and you need to be very selective on the foods that you eat. And like indulging in junk food or things like that, that's unacceptable, because that's like it's not going to allow you to prepare your womb to bring in a healthy bronze child, in the future, especially if you are abusing your body and you are injecting yourself with things, or you drinking alcohol, or you smoking. These are things that's going against the functionality of your body. So this wouldn't be good for your body. Okay, and then just the food, just in general, one of the things that you want to be able to be mindful of to start off eating healthy and refreshed is go off your blood type. See what types of foods are good according to your blood type. Okay, so when you focus on that, then you will get the proper nutrients that your body need, and can prepare yourself and prepare your womb for that child. And you have to be very disciplined. You can't do it on no profession, some way of you feeling like it's a preference. Oh, I can do this and I can, just let it pass. No, because you may think that you indulging in that one donut, or whatever the case might be. You may think that you indulging in that, but then later down the line, or a couple of days later, it turns into fat. Okay, so one of the things that you want to be mindful of is the sugar and the salt intake that you take. Okay, because that retains a lot of water, and it causes a lot of weight, or cause women to be overweight. Okay, which is not cool. Okay, because you want to make sure that you are in shape. Okay, that's a part of loving yourself. Loving yourself is not, accepting mediocrity and feeling like, oh, I love myself just the way I am. No, you have to improve yourself, improve where you are at. You can't just stay where you at and feel that you got to be non-productive in your actions or way of thinking. No, you gotta love yourself enough to keep yourself healthy. Okay, and being overweight and feeling like you're healthy or looking like you're healthy is two different things, because you might be overweight and unhealthy, which is not cool. Now, I'm not saying you got to be thin like a pencil or anything like that, but I'm just saying a part of loving yourself is making sure you are in shape. You are able to do certain things, mobilize and have a good level of confidence about yourself. It's not about you just trying to build up a level of confidence just based off of words. No, by your actions, you got to show that you love yourself, because at the end of the day, love is an action word. Love does not consist of you saying, oh, I'm going to eat this donut or this Twinkie, and then at the end of the day, I'm loving myself, because I'm eating this sweet. But then at the end of the day, you're hurting in it because you had diabetes or something as a result of that. That's not cool. That's not loving yourself, or having this connotation, oh, we're going to die someday. Come on. You got to kill that mindset. It's not going to allow you to be productive in the future, especially as a bronze woman. Okay, you sitting down, you eating all the time, and you not being mindful or discriminating towards the food that you eat, or rejecting certain types of food, or being disciplined enough to say, okay, I'm not going to eat this food. I'm not going to eat that. You got to learn ways to replace certain things that are unhealthy with things that are healthy. Now, does that mean that you got to take a vegetable and eat a raw vegetable just like that just to eat healthy? No, I'm not saying you have to do that to the extremes. But like I said, the first step is researching about your blood type and finding the foods that go with your blood type that is healthy. Okay, and then taking action to actually exercise, do something to keep yourself mobile. Okay, that's loving yourself. Not loving yourself and being overweight and saying, oh, and snapping your fingers and being sassy, oh, I love who I am. No, because you're lying to yourself. You're kidding yourself. Okay, so I'm just keeping it real. All right, so at the end of the day, what you eat, and then the thoughts. If you are a pessimistic person, you're always negative, that can affect your health as well. If you're always thinking negative and you always feel that everything got to be a problem or everything got to be a fight or whatever the case might be, then you're not going to have no peace of mind. Okay, and some of the things as a bronze woman, you have to consider your thoughts. There's certain conversations that you have to dismiss as a bronze woman that you don't need to engage. Okay, especially thoughts that's going around, playing around in your thought. You let that be between you, yourself, and I. You, yourself, and I. Not, in other words, me, myself, and I. Let you play out that negative thought in your mind before you actually come up with a solution. Okay, to it, a positive solution at that. Okay, so if you when you allow yourself to always think negative, sometimes 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be overthinking things, and that's not cool. Okay, bronze women see things for what it is, and that's it. They seek clarity and they seek facts. They don't go off of just assumptions, and that's what we're doing in this new age. Okay, so we do not entertain negativity. We do not do those things because that can have, like I said, at the end of the day, it can have an effect on your health. Okay, when you are pessimistic towards other women or whatever, that can also affect you in the end because of what you're putting out. So what you're putting out and the input, conversations you being around, you don't need to be around that because you internalizing that. You don't want that to affect your blueprint even more upon the visualization. Certain things, images that's being pushed to you, some things you just got to ignore and block out of your mind because you don't want it to distract your focus and where you need to be, especially when it comes down to birthing these new bronze children into the future. Okay, so that's one aspect of that. And then your activities. Okay, using your body as a tool or a mechanism or as a weapon to feel that you can manipulate, men, it's not cool. And I'm just giving an example. Okay, or eating food mindlessly is not cool. Okay, these are activities that you are participating in that's not, going to be beneficial for you in the future. So, so these things are very important to consider. Okay, you have to be very mindful of the things that you are doing and the reason behind why you're doing it, and not being mindless or simple-minded as a bronze woman. Okay, you have to reconsider your actions, take accountability and responsibility for what you're doing. Okay, and the meaning behind it all, and how it's going to affect you in the future, because the decisions that you make today is going to affect you in the long run. I don't care how monetarily, how fun it is, it's going to affect you long term in the long run. Okay, so you have to be mindful of those things. Okay, so when you allow yourself to choose certain types of foods, your thought process, the activities that you participate in, that entails your body in particular, when you choose these things wisely and carefully, that's going to be beneficial for you in the long run. Okay? And then another thing would be to restoring your strength and resilience. It has a lot to do with the alignment and upliftment of your soul as a bronze woman. Okay? That your soul threshold in order to produce. Okay, so when your mind and your body is in alignment, your soul will allow you to do things that are phenomenal, magnificent. Okay, so that's one of the things that you want to be able to be mindful of and consider, as a bronze woman, cleaning yourself up. Okay, and that starts off by cleaning up your level of mentality and how you see things. Okay, so with that being said, we'll be right back. Hey, and that was Whitney Shore, the famous Whitney Shore. There will never be another you. So that was the jazz music that was playing by that artist, and we're gonna get right back into the show. And what tonight's topic was, what we were discussing, which was about the bronze woman and the bronze woman womb and the seed that she carries. Okay, so that's what tonight's show discussion is about, and we are going into our next topic on how to practice projecting our children in the future as bronze women. Okay, and one of the things that you want to be able to do as a bronze woman is to think of these children purpose in their future before they actually, before you actually carry them in your womb, and the things that you're going to do about it. It's not so much of the essence of, okay, It's just partially of it when you have a good, shoulder, good head on your shoulder, whereas you have a good job and things like that, and you're able to take care of a child and go through the struggles. Is more than just that. Okay, you want to be able to think of that child's purpose, opposed to you just bringing a child into the world where they may not have to go through so much of a struggle, but they'll be well off in terms of food, clothes, and shelter. So it's more than just that. If you want to produce star children, you have to be able to consider their purpose and their future in the long run. Okay, so that's one of the things that you want to be able to do. And how you do that is one of the things is you want them to have a better life than what you have, and you basically, doing the right things, and having some qualities of parenting or being a parent in the future. Some of the things that you want to be able to consider, because it's more than just once you bring a child into the world that you no longer have time for yourself. That's what's being said about bringing children, but that's not necessarily so. When you prioritize yourself, and you doing things, and you allowing yourself to embrace, motherhood, or fatherhood as a bronze man, when you allow yourself to embrace that, you're going through a different level of experience. Okay, so even as a person, you don't have children yet, you want to think about their purpose and their future. You want to think about, okay, if I have a boy and a girl, I want their name to be this, and I want them to be able to be a doctor or this, try to come up with a purpose for them, for the future, in terms of they're going to bring something back that's new. This is how you produce star children. Okay, and then be able to visualize your son or your daughter arrival into this world in a healthy state of mind. Okay, so when I say in a state of mind, it's not so much of the child, because of course it's a baby in an infantile state, but I'm talking about your mind in particular. Okay, you have to make sure your mind is in a healthy state as you visualize your son or your daughter coming into the future in the timing that they're supposed to be here. Okay, so you want to be able to visualize them. Sometimes you can visualize how their features are going to look, how they're going to sound, along the lines of that effect and things like that. That's how you're able to project your children for the future. Okay, and then prepare and equip your body and your womb in terms of maintaining great health. Okay, as a bronze woman, that's another way how you can project these star children, bronze children, into the future. Okay, and then once again, as I said before, eating specific types of foods, can project a girl or a boy. That is facts. Okay, so based off of what you eat, one of those things that play an integral part of that is your blood type. It determines the right foods that you need to eat. Once again, as I said before, and like I said, based on the food, the intake that you you eat and things like that, it can have an effect on you having a girl or a boy. Okay, upon you giving out that projected thought as a bronze woman. Okay, and then speak those star children into existence by name. You identify them, their purpose in terms of what productive life they're gonna live, and their future, what power, what's next that they're gonna bring new into the world. Not just even new, but something that's just out of this world norm and things of that nature. Okay, and then connect on a soulful level to those children to be able to produce them in a time, but in outer dimensional period. So basically, we all know that, we have to come on earth, we come here at a certain specific time and things like that. But when you project these children, it's not on a timeline of, okay, well, I'm going to get married, I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to get married, and then I want to have a boy and a girl. That's not how you do it. Okay, when you think, that's just part of it on a grounded level. But when you looking beyond just the essence of that, and you are connected to those star children, you are actually preparing yourself or getting yourself in alignment to where when they do pass through your birth canal, you know that they're gonna be in not only good hands, but they also gonna have parents that's gonna push them and prepare them and groom them into how they need to, be in the future in terms of being productive and being able to have that sense of identity and that power of self. Okay, so this is the things that are important. Okay, and based off of your thoughts that you have projected towards these star children and things that you do, now, and bringing them forward and things like that, it plays a major role in that. And especially when you are carrying these star children in your womb, it's good to talk to them because they internalizing a whole lot of things. So if your womb is not right and your womb is messed up or whatever the case might be, you don't want to produce children in that time period because they're going to come out being chaotic. Okay, so when you take the time as chaotic and confused, but when you allow yourself the time to groom yourself and to get yourself in alignment, mind, body, and soul, you will produce phenomenal star children in the future. Okay, to whereas they can think with clarity, they can think fast, and be able to be somebody in the future. Okay, it won't be no situation where your womb was messed up and you bringing these children into the world and they don't even know or have any type of guidance of where they want to go in the world, and you can half-ass take care of them. Okay, we don't want that for those star children coming up. Okay, so that's one aspect of how, some ideas of how you can practice projecting your children into the future as bronze women. Okay, so next up is why the worth of a virtuous bronze woman is important. Okay, so the expression of love, loyalty, and respect are significant factors that are worthy and valuable in a bronze woman. Okay, so based on how she loved, who she loved, and the whole reason behind her loving is worthy and valuable. Okay, when it's in essence of it being pure and not impure. Okay, so being in love and loving someone is two different things. Okay, because when you're in love with someone, is 9 times out of 10 is monetarily, okay, and short-lived. And sometimes when it's emotional love, it can turn into something deadly and impure. Okay, so when you love somebody and when you're in love, is two different things. A bronze woman love, and they love with a healthy love. Okay, it's based, like I said, it's based on who and how they love. And then the loyalty to not ever do anything to degrade or disrespect yourself. That's the loyalty that you have for yourself upon loving you enough to not allow yourself to be out of character or give anybody no ideas or reasons to say anything about you negatively. Although people are going to say things about you, good or bad, but you don't give them even more of a reason to say anything negatively about you. I don't care if you have this mindset that you don't care what people say or think, because at the end of the day, it can come around and bite you in the behind. Okay, so you do care. And one of that loyalty is not to ever degrade or disrespect yourself. In public, in private, whatever the case might be, don't do it. Okay, bronze women have that type of loyalty for themselves where they have it in private and in public. Okay, they don't expose themselves or give nobody no negative connotations towards them or any idea of that sort. Okay, so this is why it's very important. Okay, and then the respect. You have that respect for yourself, and you're able to extend that respect back in return. Okay, you earn it, and then it's given back in return. Okay, so you had that self-respect for yourself, and you had that self-love. Those are significant factors that are worthy and valuable as a bronze woman. Okay, another thing would be being well-developed, mature, and a seasoned woman is highly virtuous. And seasoned can be a replica of a valuable, a bronze woman going through a replica of valuable experience and behavior. Okay, so maturity and development has a lot to do with the development of who and what she's going to be in the future. You know, her being able to outgrow certain things and take in certain things, the building of her character, you know, being developing her, maturing over time, can also be a quality of being a seasoned woman. So being a seasoned woman don't necessarily mean that you are just older in age, but the fact that you have enough experience and behavior towards certain things. Okay, so that's what that means. And then as a bronze woman, you know, their ability to tolerate more than they can actually produce is invaluable and indispensable. And the reason why I say that is because bronze women have a level of patience or tolerance, shall I say, to whereas, it can be very productive or sometimes it can be very damaging, okay, based on the circumstance or the situation. But when it's productive, and you are able to be tolerable to certain things, and which is 9 times out of 10 what I'm talking about, is indispensable. Okay, the level of tolerance, and that type of bronze woman can never be replaced or undermined under no circumstances. Okay, but when you have simple-minded women, tolerating things that they shouldn't be tolerating, you allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Okay, especially when you more or less more predictable and simple-minded and things like that, you allow other people to be calculating towards you and calculating towards your attitude and things like that. And it's not supposed to be that way, because nobody's supposed to ever put in their mind to ever undermine you as a bronze woman. Okay, or look for ways or reasons to take advantage of you as a bronze woman. So you have to have that level of respect to where that would not happen. Okay, so another factor would be to the production and building of the mindset of a bronze woman is in fact impeccable and timeless. Okay, so these are factors of a worthy and virtuous bronze woman. Okay, when she's able to produce, again, when she's able to take nothing and make something out of it, that's a phenomenal, beautiful thing that bronze women are able to do. And then just having a building mindset and not a self-destructive mindset is, timeless. And like I said, impeccable. Okay, so this is, like I said, worthy and virtuous, attributes and factors of a bronze woman today. So with that being said, we're going to play a little bit more music so you all can stay. Okay, and that was Miles Davis on Green Dolphin Street. Okay, so we are back, and I'm just going to basically briefly go over the next part of it, which is the grant of the topic. What is the significance of bronze women womb and the seed that she carries? First and foremost, an alpha bronze woman should reproduce and procreate with an alpha bronze man to extend that strong and regal bloodline. Okay? You mixing your seed, you watering down your seed and things like that, going against the grain, you're producing children that are not going to be, productive in the future. Okay? They are just going to basically be extensions of you without an actual purpose, and it's basically you watering your bloodline to strengthen the other races of men per se genetics, and that's not cool. Okay, so you want to be able to be mindful of that, especially with these so-called black men that are out here that are already corrupt. And this is not even about them right now. I'm not going to even mention them. This is about the new age or the new next bronze, the birth of bronze men that's coming up and out, that are coming out from that connotation of being so-called black. Okay, but when you get with an alpha man and you are an alpha woman yourself, you're able to extend yourself and develop yourself, even if you are in a beta status of being a young lady, and over time you become that alpha woman. That's fine, because it's the same thing. A bronze man have to go through that stage of being a beta man or young man before he can actually be a man, because the development age is 40. Okay, so you're going to have to go through a process. It's not just, oh, you're born to be an alpha man or alpha woman or somebody got to teach it to you. No, you grow into that. You mature into that over time. Okay, so one of the things I want to put out there is that, we come in all shades, from dark skin to light skin, but in between brown skin. But we still have that strong, regal bloodline amongst ourselves, even if we share those amongst our genetics, and we have we come in different shades and spectrum. You might have a dark skin man per se with a light skinned woman, but she's a bronze man. She's a bronze woman and it's a bronze man. Okay, and that's a good match in itself. Okay, but when you mix your seed with a whole different species and element, which is the human race, they come in all hues. Okay, so the whole thing that we have to come to the whole idea of this is that we need to, as bronze women, let the Caucasian have his Caucasian woman. Okay, let the Chinese keep his Chinese woman. Okay, let the Spanish man have his Spanish woman, and let the Russian man have his Russian woman, and the Indian man have his Indian woman, and the Mexican man have his Mexican woman, instead of using, bronze women, so-called black women, as a contour to strengthen their bloodline, or they experience or experiment. Especially you so-called black women that are out there and have that jungle experience, want to integrate your seed with these men. You need to kill that mindset. Okay, because it's not a new age, a new idea. No, you following the agenda of someone that's going to allow you to self-destruct yourself. Okay, so we need to get that right. Okay, by taking on our alpha bronze men that are coming up and out in this new age. Okay, all right, so that's one of the things that you want to keep in mind. Okay, and then as bronze woman in her womb, you got to realize that the only comparison that I can put to is that our body is almost like a cactus plant, where we able to function, transform and generate high levels of nutrients in our body and be able to sustain, which is sustainable and solid. So in other words, when we eat the right foods and we do things, we can be able to store a lot of nutrients in our breasts to prepare our children, when we eat in the right foods and be able to nourish them just off of our milk as women. Okay, when we breastfeed, when you allow yourself as bronze women, you giving yourself, your baby, Similac and all this extra stuff, this powder form for your children, you basically messing up the genetics, they whole blueprint by you doing that. You feeding them something that's abnormal. So it's good for a bronze woman to breastfeed the child, especially our star children that's going to be coming out. We definitely have to breastfeed our children. So that's very important. Okay, so that's one of the things that I wanted to put out there. In the womb, it's secure and it's able to transform, because when you hold the baby into your womb, we all know that it go through different stages of growth and things of that nature. For the pregnancy, the different levels of that, we all know that. So it's like your body is transforming and transfiguring. Okay, you're able to communicate with the baby by reading, by your voice that you interjecting and things like that, and just your environment, what you're breathing in and things like that. You're able to communicate to your child through those forms, and that way of you carrying that baby. Okay, and then one of the things that you also got to keep in mind, that your body is already equipped and prepared to carry that baby in your womb. Okay, so it allows the growth of that star child to mutate in the womb for a period of 10 months. Okay, I know some people might think it's 9 months, but the pregnancy starts at the day of conception. Okay, where your stomach may not show, but that's when it actually starts. At the midst of your period, sometimes you may not have a missed period, but it starts at the time of conception. Okay, so it's a total of 10 months that you carrying that baby in your womb. Okay, and then the womb basically aids in the maintenance of life of another, but do not give life, in essence, of a child passing through the birth canal of a bronze woman. This is just a part of the reproduction period of you bringing that child into the world. The life that is given in return is based on the Most High, and that Most High seeing that this child have a purpose and bringing this child into the world. Sometimes you might still bring this child into the world for a sacrificial purpose, or it can be for a supreme purpose. Sometimes that happens. So even in the two, the Most High gives life. Okay, but we just maintain it through our wombs, and we have to have a healthy womb, because energy plays a lot in that. The type of energy that we give into the baby, it can affect them in the long run. Okay, so this is why the womb is very important. Okay, and why we need to stay amongst our own kind, our alpha, be with our alpha men, bronze men. Okay, and let these beta men, other races of men, have they women. This is what the Most High gave them for. He didn't give you these other races of men to have the bronze woman, or whatever the case might be, or the bronze woman compromising her womb and her body. Okay, and degrading herself. That's not what the Most High did this for. This is what they got they woman for, whatever the crazy, outrageous stuff they want to do, or whatever exquisite or whatever kind of thing they want to do. Let them have their own woman and do those things too. Don't allow yourself to be exceptional to these things, and we be in a different light of things. Okay, let them keep their woman. We keep our clean our mind and stuff like that, and we restore ourselves and get back in right alignment. Okay, so this is very important. And with that being said, I thank you all taking the time out to listen to NETERAL Radio Show, because the show is coming to a close. So I thank you all for taking the time out to listen once again. And we're just going to end off with this show. I wasn't able to take any calls. Hopefully on our next show, we will be taking calls live, and it will be a live productive show. And next topic is going to be about the rebirth of the bronze man. So that's what you can look forward to for the next show on NETERAL Radio Show. Okay, so with that being said, you all have a great night. And I'm going to be playing Love Dance by Woody Shaw.